Hi everyone, my name is Amber. This is going to be a chatty video about my 2021 goals. So I've split these goals up into books and reading, booktube and blogging, and real life, just to give it some kind of structure. So I guess we're going to start off with my books and reading goals. So my first goal is my kind of number of books read to read goal. I read over 150 books in 2020, and that is largely down to being in lockdown. Previously, the year before, I read about 140 books, I think, and in the years previously I read around 100 unless I was having a huge life event in that year. I don't really want to set my goal as 100 books just because I find that a lot of pressure. Sometimes in the beginning of the year, if I'm behind on my goal, if I'm having a bit of a slumpy month, Goodreads will tell me so, and they'll tell me that I am behind on my goal. And personally, I find that quite annoying. So I'm not going to go too high with this. I'm thinking that in previous years, I've put 5 books, and that's just so that I can meet the Goodreads goal. People can have a laugh at it and I don't have to stress myself out. So I think this year I'm going to say that I want to read 10 or more books. Obviously I am expecting to read way more than that, but my Goodreads challenge goal will be to read 10. And in terms of a personal goal, kind of in my head, I'm not going to set one because I would love to say that I could read 150 books again, but it might not be realistic. I don't know what's going to happen in 2021. I didn't know what was going to happen in 2020, so I don't really want to stress myself out and worry about reading over 100 books. Something important could come up and it could throw me off completely, and then I'll just be disappointed. So I'm just going to stick to 10. My next goal is to track my statistics. I've been doing quite a good job with this in 2021, although I have only been updating my spreadsheet every 3 months, so every quarter, so I can do the quarterly statistics videos. I think in 2021 I would like to update that more regularly and keep a better eye on it. So I'm going to try to update them once a month. I don't really want to do it more often than that, just because then I start focusing on the numbers too much and it just gets not stressful, but it just takes over a bit and I start wondering if I should be reading other things, and it just gets to me. So I don't really want to do that, but I would definitely like to keep tracking my statistics and also reading mindfully. So I had a map of the countries in which the books that I read were set in, and I found that really useful actually. I realised that I read a lot of books set in the US and the UK, and I would like to change that just because I would like to read more about other people and other cultures. And in 2020 I think I covered most continents, not covered, I visited most continents rather, although I didn't actually read any books set in South America. I didn't read any sets in Antarctica, but that doesn't really count. And I only read a few sets in Africa, so the ones set in Africa I think were in Egypt and Ghana. And then Asia I think was another one where I didn't read from too many different countries. They were often the same ones, so there were a few set in China, a couple in Syria, and I would just like to expand upon that. So I'll carry on doing my map. I found it very useful to be able to track what I was doing. I would like to read fewer books set in the UK or the US, or I would at least like to read more books set in other countries, as well as reading all those books that are set in the USA, because I think almost 50% of my reading was set in the USA, and that's a lot, and I don't even live there. So I would like to continue to change that in 2021, although I'm definitely not expecting to read, I don't know, 75 books set in a random country, but I would like to be able to diversify my reading in that way a bit more, because I find it very interesting. I love traveling, I love experiencing other cultures, so this is something that I would really like to do. Another goal of mine is to reduce my physical TBR, and I don't want to throw or give away any books. I just want to read from my physical TBR more often, and I did quite a good job with that in 2020, and I would like to continue to do that in 2021. So for this year I've actually set a kind of challenge for myself. It's a TBR challenge that I've just completely made up myself, because I was looking at some backlist challenges and things, and while I'm sure they're good for other people, I tend to forget about them. So for me, I've set a challenge of reading at least 3 books from my physical TBR that meet a certain theme or goal or something from my TBR jar. So what this means is, for example, in January I will be reading at least 3 short books, and short books is my theme. So I've picked out those 3 books, I'm going to read those, and then if I find myself wanting to read something else from my TBR, or I'm not in the mood for anything on my January TBR, I am going to be able to pick out books from my bookshelf, but they have to fit that theme. And then in February I'm probably going to do books that are a certain colour. March I might do books that were gifted to me. It's going going to be quite a broad theme, so there'll be space for like whatever I'm in the mood for. I don't really want to do too many themes that are to do with genres, because then I might not be in the mood for that certain genre. And then once I've read those 3 books, I am allowed to buy 1 more book, so the ratio should be 3 to 1. And I'm hoping this will help, and it will have me reading books from my TBR that I have had for years and still haven't read, because I bought a lot of books at the start of my booktube journey back in 2010, 2011, and I didn't get around to them because I picked up all these books from the charity shops and just didn't get to them. So I would like to continue to reduce my physical TBR so that I can buy more books in the future. I actually have space for these books. That will be nice. Related to that, I would also like to track my spending, the amount of money that I spend on books. I tried to do this in previous years, but I just didn't do it. So I'm going to make it an actual goal of mine to do it this year. I'm quite lucky in that I do have the disposable income to buy a few books every month, but I would still like to track how much I'm spending. And I just think it would be quite interesting to see at the end of the year how much I'm spending on books, how much I'm saving from using the library, and how much I'm also saving by reading from my own physical TBR. And then my final reading goal is going to be to reduce my NetGalley TBR or increase my NetGalley ratio. It's currently at, I think, 54 or 56%, which isn't bad, I don't think, considering I've been on the platform for 10 years now. But I would like to keep working towards that. So a lot of my reading is going to be focused on reducing my NetGalley TBR each month, I think. Because I am doing a debut author challenge, which I'll talk about in a bit, I do have quite a few advanced readers copies from NetGalley that I do need to read, but I also did need to request them because I'm doing author interviews and reviews and stuff in advance in order to promote these authors. So it was kind of working towards this feature of mine, so that's the way that I kind of justified it. The NetGalley thing doesn't really stress me out, to be honest, because they're free books and I'm also reviewing them and promoting them for free. It's not as if this is a job for me or I've been paid to promote these books, but I would still like to get my percentage up a bit. I'm hoping to maybe reach 60 to 65% by the end of the year. I think that's a reasonable goal. I think I could do it. Next we have my booktube and book blogging goals. If you don't know, I also have a book blog which I don't update as regularly as I used to. I tend to prefer booktubing now. I'm not really sure why. I actually find it quite difficult to write on my book blog, but it's something that I really enjoy, and it's 10 years old, 10 and a half years old, and I think if I were to stop blogging I would really miss it and it would make me really sad. So I'm carrying on blogging. My #1 goal for booktubing and book blogging is taking part in the debut author challenge, which I am actually hosting this year for the first time. My goal is to see it to completion. So at the beginning of every month on my blog I will be posting that month's debut releases. So 1st of January I posted the kickoff post and information about all the debut books that are coming out in January. I'm going to do that every single month at the start of every month, and I also want to continue to promote and review debut books throughout the month. So not just at the beginning of every month, I want to continue to do it so that my platforms are able to promote these debut authors, because debut authors have it kind of tough, especially in 2020 and 2021 with the pandemic going on, and the fact that there are so many of them at the moment because publishing houses just kept on buying up debut books trying to find the next big thing. That's a whole other discussion. I just really like to promote them so they don't get lost in like a sea of Sarah J Maas and J.K. Rowling. So that's something that I want to continue with. If you want to know more about the debut author challenge, I've done a video on it which I will link up above, and I also link my blog post on it down below. There is giveaway information in the blog post, so go and check that out if you want to be entered into the giveaway. Another goal that I have for both platforms is to continue to upload regularly or post regularly. So I have currently been doing uploads to YouTube about 3 times a week roughly, and that's reasonable for me. It's been working out quite well, especially because I've been working at home since March. I would like to get ahead with doing that with my blog and on booktube as well, so scheduling posts, I think, especially once the commute starts again, is going to be quite important for me, and it's something that I want to continue to work towards. And I think if I were to get maybe a week ahead with my videos and my blog posts, that would be ideal for me. Maybe a few weeks ahead on my blog. I used to be about a month ahead on scheduling posts on Books of Amber, which was tiring, but it was definitely worth it because it allowed for blogging slumps and all sorts. So yeah, I would definitely like to upload regularly and also schedule ahead because I think that would be quite useful. I would also like to take part in more readathons regularly. I was doing well with this at the beginning of 2020 and then the plans didn't really go too well. I would also like to host my own readathon to do with the debut author challenge. I used to host the debutathon and I would like to bring that back maybe mid-year. So I'm thinking that I could maybe take part in 1 readathon per month and vlog it, whether it's like my own 24-hour readathon or if it's like a community readathon. I just really like the community aspect of readathons and the challenges that they come with, especially if I can merge my existing TBR with the readathon. A goal that I have for my booktube channel for 2021 is to post more reviews more regularly. I'm doing really well with this currently. Actually, 2020 was a really good year for that, and it was definitely a goal for 2020 for me, and I'm really glad that I kept it up, and I would like to keep it up for the year ahead. I really enjoy posting review videos, and all of my most popular videos on this channel are review videos as well, so I think everyone else enjoys them, and they're really searchable as well, so I think they've introduced a few people to my channel. And since I am here to talk about books I either enjoy or don't enjoy, I think book reviews are probably my favourite kinds of videos to record because I just like gushing about the books that I read. And my final goal for this category is to continue to post more creative ideas. I have a bunch of ideas in my bullet journal on my tablet as well for like challenges and creative post discussions that I just don't get around to because I get kind of distracted by the usual booktube posts like TBRs, book hauls, reading vlogs, wrap-ups, that I don't really tend to explore my more creative ideas. And to be honest, I think they are quite creative and I think people would enjoy them. So I need to try to make the time for those, I think, because I would really enjoy making them. Coming up in the next month, for example, I'm going to be doing a couple more which book is best challenges for a couple of different authors. I did this for Ruth Ware in 2019 right at the end, and I really enjoyed it, and that's now one of my most viewed videos. It's actually one of my favourite videos that I've ever done, so I'd like to do more of that in 2021. And then we have my real life goals, which you may or may not be interested in, but I thought I would mention them here anyway. So my number one goal is to save some money for a new porch. A porch in the UK isn't like the sweeping patio at the front of the house like it is in the US. Like wraparound porches aren't really a thing. Here in the UK, what I mean by porch is kind of an extension at the front of the house, which is quite small, and it's where you walk in, take your shoes off, hang your coat up before you enter the main part of the house. I'll post some photos so you know what I'm talking about, but I don't currently have one, and we have kind of like an overhang by our front door and it's falling apart. So I would like to save money for a porch extension and maybe a downstairs toilet because we don't have one of those just yet, but we need to speak to an architect and a builder about that and get some quotes. But my goal is by the end of the year to have a porch, or at least have the money to buy a porch. I also want to try bullet journaling. I have started this already, and as of when I'm recording this, it's going quite well, but I don't know if that's still going to be the case by the end of January. I tend to get really into these ideas and then give up on them after a month, but I'm quite enjoying it so far. I would like to get a bit more creative with it and do some drawings and some colouring, but I think first of all I need to get into the habit of actually doing it and writing in it, so those things are going to have to wait, I think. Another goal of mine is going to be to get vaccinated. I am just so sick of having to stay in the house and worrying about infecting people, and so I'm really keen for this vaccine to come around. So once that becomes available to me, I'm going to be going straight to the doctor and getting vaccinated, because that's probably my one true goal of 2021. And the next two goals kind of go hand in hand with that, or they're more reliant on that. My fourth goal for like real life stuff is to go on holiday. I haven't been on holiday since the beginning of 2020 and I really miss it. It's not going to be abroad. I don't feel comfortable going abroad anytime soon, but once I'm vaccinated I would like to maybe do a road trip somewhere in the UK, or just go and stay in an Airbnb or in a cabin somewhere and get away from the house, because I really miss travelling. I really miss seeing new places. I really miss Scotland actually. I really want to go to Scotland, but obviously this all depends on whether or not the vaccines are widespread enough for me to do that safely. And then finally I also want to get back into going to the gym, because I really miss the gym. I've been maybe twice since the first lockdown ended, and then cases started getting higher again, and then we went into various lockdowns and tiers, and so I just didn't go back, and I really miss it. I really miss going to the gym and I really want to get back into shape. I was doing really well with my 5Ks and now I'm not doing so well with that, because I find it really hard to motivate myself to run outside when there's just so much to do in the house, like reading or cleaning up or tidying or just housework in general. And then I also have to like maintain my booktube channel, my book blog. So unfortunately exercise has kind of taken a backseat over the past maybe 3 months or so since I moved in here, but I would like to get back into the fitness routine, particularly at the gym. But for now, until I'm vaccinated, until it's safe to do so, I'll be exercising at home. In relation to that, I'm also doing a no sugar January challenge, in which I don't eat anything with added sugar or any like sugary drinks or chocolate or sweets or anything, which I did last year and I really enjoyed it actually. My energy levels like went up, so I'm looking forward to doing that again this year. So those are all my goals. I can think of a few more, like reading more series and things, but to be honest I don't want to overcommit, So I'm going to reassess these goals maybe in 3 or 4 months time, and then we can figure out how well they're going, anything that I want to add to them. I can probably tell you my progress on my statistics and my reading, and then also on how the saving for the porch is going, because that's a thing that I'm doing now that I own a house. Let me know what your goals are in the comments below, and I'll speak to you all in the next video. Bye.